Welcome to another episode of molybdenum software. Uh, opens. I don't know what we do.
Yeah,
It's
open source software.
You take command, Jeremy.
All right, let's see your screen.
Here's the screen. Here is the repo and a mob start 7.
Sweet.
That does not yet work. Should it work if I do deriv allow here? Will I get a
Ah,
shell?
I mean, we keep toggling between working and broken, so I
Okay,
think it's currently
so I'll
broken.
click the button here. Got
Sweet.
it.
All right.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to remember where we left off. I remember it was like we were about to climb a mountain, in terms of just like shuffling stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we're trying to deal with that, those DB
Scope,
options that are shared,
context. Mm-hmm.
which is weird because it's like not a proper NixOS module. It's just an attribute set,
It's
but like it's
not
an
the.
attribute set that requires access to config, which implies
Yep.
that it has to be a NixOS module, the way that we're structuring our code,
Well,
or it has to be like a function that we pass around with module args, so that in the places where we want to use it, we can pass in config as a parameter,
mm-hmm.
or we promote it to be a NixOS module, or, and this might be a distraction,
I
I
think
don't
we.
really remember making this
Mm-hmm.
thing. I wonder if it's worth revisiting, just like why it exists. But that's like,
I think we can promote it to be an XOS module. It's. I think we can.
okay,
So I show you the usage of it.
yeah, maybe if we look in main, I'm not sure what
So
state things are
something
in
like
our branch.
API and XOS module. DB.
Okay, all
Um,
right, so I'm wrong. Are we? Is this the state of the code in main? Are we?
the
We
what?
are using it as truly an XOS module.
No, I don't think so. I think you see this. This is one usage.
Hmm.
It's like in the API NixOS module, there's option services PR tracker API DB equals common DB. It's basically the same value option, right? Same option declaration under a different path. We have this one, and we have the equivalent, I believe, if we go to the
Hmm.
modules fetcher NixOS module, we have common DB. This
Okay,
and that.
got it. Yeah, so it is just an attribute set. What I was getting confused about was at the top of the file, I saw it being imported in a way that smelled
This,
like a, yeah.
yeah,
Is that
that's
just
just
work
a
in progress
mistake. I
code in
think
this
we want,
branch?
yeah, I think it's just
Okay,
incorrect work in progress. But
sure.
I think it's maybe even might be correct work in progress if we just decide that this is.
I like that. I feel like making it a NixOS module, even if it doesn't like do anything, does it do stuff? Well, it'll start a database, won't it? Doesn't it have a config section if you're doing create locally?
What does these are just options, right? Again,
Well,
um,
what if create locally is set to true? Where does the Postgres database get started or declared?
that's in uh, that's in common maybe. What's common? NixOS common? No, that's not. That's nothing that we mean to remove it. So create locally equals. That's in DB.
Okay, that's the option. But where's it used to do like a
That's
make
something
if on
else.
starting the
That's
database?
an actual. I'm sorry. This is an actual. This is the one. This is that. What's on the left? This whole NixOS module is that.
Okay. And so the one on the left declares the Postgres database if create locally is set to true
Yeah.
in its config section.
Some assertions, and here's the services progress.
Okay, cool, great. Okay, so then I'm confused again. So the place where we're just kind of renaming an option.
Here are the two options that this module declares. They're both, under option services PR tracker DB, and it's create locally and name.
Mm-hmm.
This is for even if you don't create locally, you need to. Maybe no. This only matters when create locally. Yeah, automatically created local database name.
Yeah. And so
And
the renaming of the option that's occurring in like the API module, where it says like you showed me the line of code a moment ago. It said like
so on the
options.
right we have fetcher
Sure. Yeah. So there must be the
DB.
same thing.
This
Okay.
this
So it's
option and the equivalent in
yeah.
API.
Okay. And so this common.db that is different than this db.next on the left half of your screen.
Yes, it's not from the same file.
Okay.
It's not the
And so
same
maybe
value.
that's the one that we were starting to bang our heads against yesterday. It's not the
Yes,
db.next.
correct.
Okay. And so the common, where does that binding come from? On the right hand side, is that an import?
No, it's an import. Yeah, well, it's an import,
Okay,
actual
cool.
import.
Where we pass it in control. Okay. All right. So this is the thing that we need to figure out how to handle. It's not a NixOS module. It is a function that returns an attribute set where the values of the attribute set are mostly, I think,
They depend on
NixOS
config,
configs, NixOS options. I mean,
and the way that they depend on config
they have some like
is
default values or assertions or something like that.
it depends on create locally,
Yeah.
and I think also even this the port of the PostgreSQL service
Hmm.
from the PostgreSQL module and the
Yeah.
DB name from this module as well. The same,
Hmm.
this and that are from here. And again, create locally.
Yeah.
I
So
believe I
like
have
this
no
is straying
changes.
into breaking change territory.
Stopping screen share.
Mob D open. Okay. So this would be like straying into breaking changes territory. But if I modules, API, NixOS module, and we've got this
Let's just
common.
not go into breaking changes territory.
Okay, great. So then we need this function. We need to get our hands on this function somehow.
Um, one, one change. It's not a breaking change, but it is a kind of a user-facing change. Is that this file will actually be an NixOS module, and it will define those those options with their paths, the actual options, not just provide values for them. It will declare those options for both the API and the fetcher, or if there is some wizardry that we could say, if the parent module that imported me is API, I will define those options for API
Yeah.
if
Well,
we
I mean,
have
I
that
like the first
metadata.
idea
Mm-hmm.
because there's a breaking
Mm-hmm.
change I want to make, not as part of the work we're doing here, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, or at least I want to talk about it. Maybe now's the time to talk about it. It's like, I don't understand why
Mm-hmm.
we're exposing these as two separate options. It feels to me like there could just be one common option that's used. by the API and the fetcher. So that's the breaking change that I'd like to talk about making at some other point. It's like, do we really need to be re-aliasing these? Can we just have like a shared, prtracker.db set of options?
What use case does it support to have them separate?
I can't think of any super realistic ones. Like you've got one box that's spinning up a fetcher and an API, but they're going to talk to different databases. Like that seems like a very odd decision.
Um, well, if we're not making that change now, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, no,
We
but I
just
think
want
it
to.
influences the thing we do now because the thing we do now that would be forwards compatible with that is,
I wouldn't like it to influence because I would like to make progress. So I wouldn't like to make a discussion about that change yet.
well, okay, let me explain why it feels related to me and then tell me if this feels like the tail wagging the dog to you. You
Mm-hmm.
had floated the idea of let's promote this thing right here to be a proper NixOS
Mm-hmm.
module, and it will declare both the options for the API and the fetcher.
Yeah.
And I like that because that feels
Okay.
forwards compatible with a universe where we actually drop those and just create a new set of options
Sure.
homed directly
Yeah.
under PR
Okay. I get
Tracker.
it.
So that's why that feels like a thing I'd like to do because it's forwards compatible with that other thing. And I don't think it's creating more work for us right now. It's just a
Sure.
way to solve the
Granted.
problem.
But let's talk about the merits of that on its own.
Okay.
One problem is that those options, it's like, oh, ghost options will exist if you never import
Yes.
the one of them. You'd still get some options for that one.
Yep. Yeah. So that's not a
Um,
merit. That's a negative, and I agree.
mhm.
But I'm willing to accept that because, like I said, I have a vision here for what I want us to do in the future. So
Mhm.
I can live with a little weirdness. But the alternative, if we don't like that, would be to make this function available to us somehow. And we could do that.
Or
There are a number of ways we could do that.
to make that to make this an XOS module and um, to make them instead of it providing values for options, it would provide functions that take config and return values for options.
I mean, how's that different than one big function, which is what we have right now?
Because so another change is that it would be an maybe a flake parts uh, module that provides those functions to the
Sure.
flake parts config via
Module
um,
args.
modulargs.
Yeah. But I mean, we could do that just with the function we have right now and do less churn, right?
Oh, right. You know what? I like that better.
Okay.
It's a function, the same function.
Yeah. And we maybe get to drop some stuff. Like we don't have to pass around lib or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it might be a slightly simpler function
yeah. You happy
or
with
at least
that?
signature. Yeah, I'm willing to do that. Um, so what we will do is we'll add I don't know if we've already created a new home for this thing. I guess we got to pick a name for it if we haven't. So DB options is probably what we were planning to do. No. Yeah, I think this is it right here. So I think we started copying stuff into here, and then we fizzled out on time. So I think let's see if this file is already a copy of that function. I haven't made any changes, so I will just rotate.
Yeah. Give. I'll do this in one turn.
Go for it.
If I don't, okay. 7. Okay.
So can we look at those two files, dboptions.nix, and then the
Deep.
old db.nix?
I can do this.
Okay,
I can
go for it.
autopilot this change if we are decided on what we do, right? What we want to do.
Go for it.
All right. So I'm going to start from the usage. That's API NixOS module and fetcher NixOS NixOS module. Both of them pretty much the same change will be. In the module args, I will start from the actual end. Where's the actual usage of DB? Dot
I think it's called
something
config.
common.
Hold on, it's common dot, right? That you're looking for?
Common, yeah, thank you. Common dot. Sure, yeah, all the common ones, maybe.
And I
We
think
didn't talk
this
about.
stays the same. I think the only line of code that changes is line 10.
This says the same. This says the same. Yeah, I think you're right. We don't need to change its name. So common will be from here instead of from there.
That might not be a good name for it in that context, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on, sorry. Common, can you undo that? I think we still need that line of code, right? Because we have to invoke the function here. Because this is where we get config.
Right. I'm going too fast. Okay. I mean, common. It's like you can shadow whatever it's called. It needs common config.
Does it also
And if
need
you want
options,
to
though? Or is options accessible some other way?
say again,
It took config and options. Does it need options?
it took options. Oh Lord. Okay. So much for autopiloting this.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Hopefully this is useful
No,
feedback.
this is good. I don't want to make mistake and then debug it. Instead of common, the name
Yeah, I mean, it's got to have DB in the name, right? Like,
constants. Nah, it's not all constants. And no, there's not only DB stuff there. I mean, we kind of
oh, really?
started yesterday splitting out
Oh, I see.
constants somewhere. Did we?
Okay, so it's
Like
like
Nix
it's our module.
constants.
It's a
That's
NixOS module library, is what it is. It's a dumping ground for shared stuff between our NixOS modules.
yeah,
So I
maybe
would call it
shared.
sure.
What were
I don't know
you
if
about to
shared is.
say?
Yeah. Shared works for me. Uh, I think it might. We'll see if we get tripped up by this in the future, and maybe we'll have to rename it. Shared and common probably. Looking at it a month from now, they're not going to feel any different to me.
You're right. There's no difference. May as well just not have a change in the diff.
I think the thing that would like maybe make it clearer to me would be if we put like the fact that it's like a library for building NixOS modules seems to be how we're using it.
Module Nexus module lib.
That's what I like that. But I don't know if that feels like too much of a mouthful to you.
Module lib. I'm fine with that. No, it's perfect.
Okay, let's do it.
Nexus module lib, and then we can shadow First
Is that a thing you can do
module.
in Nix?
What will is this like
You can
not
shadow
supported
like
in
that?
some way? You think
I
this
thought that
will refer to that?
I thought so.
Well, according to the analysis, static analysis here, it does. This is not used.
Like that, I think that's how you do a recursive function. In Nix is you'd say foo equals, and then you'd invoke foo.
Yeah, I guess so. So this would be make.
Yeah, mk is a common prefix in Nix, I think.
No, I don't. I don't actually want to rename this one. This is what I want.
Cool.
Okay. Make Nicholas module lib. And then this same line.
Love it.
And change this to common and then refactor Nicholas modules. Module lib.
Beautiful.
Okay, so that's some progress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where is that file?
Yeah, it's referenced to
db
Flake.
something like this one? No, that's not it.
Comment, right?
Sorry?
I think you were in the right folder, but it's the
This?
comment.nix, I think.
Okay. This is going into
Yeah,
modules and just over here.
yeah.
Paste. Common.
And
Now we
maybe rename
rename
it to
this to
make
Nixos
nixos lib.
modules lib. I don't think
Love
we
it.
need the make over here.
Okay.
Nixos. Okay. And now we need to import this in the flake.nix. Something like modules.
Yeah. And then let's delete the
Nixos
previous two
modules
lines.
lib. These two.
And I think we also need to delete that file before we forget about it, because we did create that dbOptions.nix. It's going to be easy to forget about it.
Which one?
You just deleted a
Modules.
reference to it. It's called db-options.nix.
This one.
Yep, that can go.
Delete.
Love it.
Okay. Acceptable.
Okay.
Progress. Let me see that I saved everything I did. Unsharing
Love
screen.
it. Okay. Hoping the auto formatter will kick in here. Excellent. Make this actually legible. There we go. Okay. So this is now a Flake part module, which defines a single module arg called make nixos module lib, which I think is compatible with the other code you just wrote.
Hmm.
It takes options and config, and I believe it needs both of them. So I was able to drop the lib parameter by adding it up here
3 dots.
to be a Flake part module.
Oh wait, no, you're sorry. No, you're right. It's a function. Yeah. Never mind me.
All right, great. So with that done,
This might work, right?
yeah, I mean, at least Nix Flake Show works. I think we won't know for sure until we get the NixOS tests ported over. So maybe we should do that next.
Okay.
So we've got 3 old directories. I think we can tackle these in whatever order we want. This one's probably closest to empty,
What's in there?
db.nix.
Yeah, let's do that. That should be quite easy.
Oh, nixos db.nix. Okay, so this defines actual database related options. So this is truly a NixOS module.
It's just an Nixos module. Just move it to where? Well, move it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then here's the subtlety maybe with this one is, are we okay with this being exposed um, as a output of our Flake?
No.
Okay, so then basically, I think the question before I move this, what I want to talk about is modules, API, NixOS module. How do we want this line of code and the analogous line of code in modules fetcher? How do we want these two lines of code
I think
to look?
we will obtain this module through module args of the Flake part.
Okay, so we can do that. I think what I'm a little confused about is we seem to have formed an opinion about our Flake outputs at some point, because like common is that that doesn't seem like something. Okay, yeah, like right now we have a module called common. Do we actually want that to be part of our Flake API?
No,
Okay, so that's something. I can't remember if that's the code in main right now or if we did that in this branch, but that's a separate thing that I think you're saying you would like to change.
is it in main?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
Show us, please.
What I'm looking
Wait,
for
no.
here.
Switch to main and next show.
Right, I don't like fighting with the mob tool. Okay,
If you
mob.
made a change, then do a mob next.
Okay. So
Good
I'm
dog.
pretty sure we don't have this modules.common.
Good dog.
Oh, we do. Look at that. So that is the
Sorry,
code
what?
in main right now.
Oh,
So to change that would maybe be to change something that
oh.
we could
Yeah,
we could do that
it's a
as a
breaking change technically, but it was never intended to be there. So I don't think. I think it's not. I don't think it justifies.
I mean, I'm fine doing it now. I'm fine doing it after, or I'm fine staffing this branch and doing it as pre-work, but I think doing it
It's
as
a
pre-work.
bug. It's a like when you fix a bug and you say, "I'm sorry, I never intended." Like I know this might break you, but I never
Mm-hmm.
intended for this
Yep.
to be a thing that you would use. And it was like there's a chance that a user technically there's a chance that a user actually imported this and it it would still work, right? It would end up being like imported more than once. Actually, it's
Mm-hmm.
already imported more than once. If
Yep. Yeah. So again, do we want to make that breaking change now, or do we want to do it as a separate thing after we're done with this?
I
I'm
think
fine
that
either way. Sorry, did you already say?
um, I think we don't call it a breaking change.
Okay. But do you want to make it right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what we're
Wait,
going to
can we
do,
not make it? Is it
yeah, we can also
actually?
not
You know
make
what?
that change.
Let's not make it, and then make it
Cool.
as in like, sorry, this I know this is kind of
Yep,
breaking, but
we
we
can totally
didn't
do it as a
mean. Yeah.
separate PR. Okay, mom, nope, I already did mom next. It's all you.
Starts. Okay.
So yeah, what do we want line 20 on the left to look like?
2020. Uh, that's yeah. 20. That would be from. So it would be uh, common mix OS module. Is it DB? DB mix OS module.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a
And maybe to avoid
fetcher.
polluting this kind of like shared namespace, how do you feel about like a private, like an attribute set that houses our shared stuff? Like there could be, you know, instead of db NixOS module, we'd say like private NixOS modules dot db. And then in the future, when we move common over there, it would be private NixOS modules dot common.
Private with modules DB.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Private NixOS modules.
Hmm. Cool.
That's all that is necessary over in these files.
Great. And then we can get this thing defined.
How do I do this? Buff do. Is this buff do?
You want to
Buff
close all your
do?
buffers?
Yeah.
Was it buff close? Can't remember. Are you trying to?
There is buff wipe. I'm sure there's look, close, buff to close. Ah, this seems to have worked. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
And now I have to go implement, possibly even move it somewhere. Where is it now? Is it is it is it here? Is it this one?
That's the one.
Mm-hmm. This will go under modules
Yes, it will.
here, called DB, but it will be called. Do you want to put it under a directory now, like
Private NixOS
private?
modules or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
could
put
be
it under
nice.
another
Maybe.
set. Hmm?
Yeah, we could just have a private NixOS modules dot d private NixOS modules dot nix that defines all the private NixOS modules. If we think that's not too much to jam in one file.
It's a bit much semantically.
Hmm.
And oh, yeah. So either file, private, NixOS module, DB, or directory.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll make a directory. Private NixOS modules. Sorry, that's not how you make a directory here. Making it here is do something like private NixOS modules with trailing slash.
Got it.
And where's DB? This will go. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. What even happened here? Okay.
Cool.
So that's cool.
Looks
Does
good.
this need a default .next now?
I guess we should.
Okay. Private. So in the at the flake, there needs to be importing of this somewhere.
Yes.
Modules, private, NixOS. Yes.
There's
Private.
typo. Sweet. Looks good.
Inside there should be a modules private. No, private. Actually, it exists. Private default. It simply imports db.nix.
Looks good.
And then dbnix is a flake parts module, right?
It will be.
It will be. So this is NixOS modules. No, it's not. It's underscore module args private NixOS modules dot vb equals this function.
Looks good.
Next, like show. Git add next, like show.
Great.
So show doesn't fail.
Yep.
Next thing.
That's our best check right now, I think.
Next it.
Okay.
Share
Guess we can
screen.
try. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Here we go. Is the timer going? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So Nick's Flake check does fail. So I guess we can pull on that thread. Create locally.nix is referencing a NixOS module that does not exist. So NixOS modules.api, NixFlake show. So there's a thing called Nix modules. Do we have a typo somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. NixFlake show. Hey, that looks better. So let's see if NixFlake check. Oh, it doesn't like having an option declared twice. Interesting.
What declared twice?
The option nodes.br tracker db create locally in API NixOS module. That's db.create create. How does that get defined? That must be by way of here or something. It's already declared in fetcher
It's
NixOS module.
different. The difference is that we're not importing via a path. The module system, when you import via a
Oh,
path,
okay.
it caches paths, and the path is the key for the cache of the modules that are loaded.
I see. Okay, so if we give the same treatment to fetcher, things will just
What's
keep
the
working.
treatment? There's no.
Oh, we've already made that. I see. Sorry. Oh, okay. Now, why weren't we running into this issue with common? Or were we? No, this common thing, this pattern exists in main.
You're
Why
right.
wasn't it running into that problem?
You're right. Maybe because it's not a function module.
Are you talking? You're saying it's not a function module like the flake part? The way we define the flake part is different?
No, that the NixOS module is an outer set, not a function. The DB, we know that that's a function module.
Okay. So you want to see what happens if we just
No, that's not what I meant. Sorry, not being clear. A module, a Nix packages module system module can be an outer set. Doesn't have to be a function.
Yes.
So I'm suggesting that caching may behave differently with attr sets than with functions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the conflict only exists with attr sets, not with functions.
Well,
But this
common is
is
a function.
a function. The heck? What's the difference?
I
This
mean,
creates.
one difference is that this is homed under flake.nixos modules. I don't know if there's some special treatment. I wouldn't have expected some special treatment.
Huh.
But we could try making that change. We could home it under Nixos modules, see if the problem goes away.
Yeah, just for education, let's try that.
Okay, great. So instead of private Nixos modules, this will actually look like self.nixos modules dot I don't know, underscore DB or something to emphasize the privateness of it. This is not a used parameter anymore. And I'm going to make this change in two places. I'm going to do this to the API as well. So that goes away. That goes away. And we're going to do self.nixos modules dot underscore DB. Like that. And then I'm going to go to where we just defined this stuff, private Nixos modules, db.nix. And here we will use flake.nixos module dot underscore db. No difference.
Any more details in the error? I'm sorry. It's yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
While checking flake outputs, checks. Wait, yeah, the next flake check, right? While checking the derivation, NixOS tests create local. While evaluating the attribute drv path, at lib customization. I think that's Nix packages, lib customization. Drv path, assert condition while evaluating.
I'll rotate.
Okay. Running Nix play check. While evaluating the option. That's the nodes of the test, PR tracker node. System build top level. Evaluate the definitions from this NixOS module and Nix packages. While evaluating the option assertion. It's our own assertions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's no, it's a module called assertions that exists on. So if I never did this, but if I do Nix REPL, GitHub, it's not going to work. GitHub might be infra
Mm-hmm.
and do NixOS configurations. This one, I should have assertions, right? I don't. config version. Yes.
Okay.
It might be a list, actually. Yeah, it's a list of objects.
Okay.
Okay. So now we know what this is. This gets generated, right? It's
From
like,
all the assertions and all the modules that you pulled in or something.
that's what I'm thinking.
Makes sense.
While evaluating definitions from, this is probably the root of our flake.
Mm-hmm.
This is private extension DB via option. The difference is this is an option. Is it not? Well, currently there is
Look at the
no
stack trace
diff.
I have.
Sorry?
Nothing. Never mind.
Flake NixOS modules DB. That's after the last change. This is, so this doesn't, I don't know if it matters. Option where, because underscore module is also an option, so I don't think that matters, right? The option nodes
I guess this is an option in the sense that
tracker.
from Flake Parts' perspective, it's an option.
This.
But
It
I
is.
don't
It
think we're
is.
in the Flake Parts. It's hard for me to tell which module system we're dealing with here, or if it's a mix of both. Because there's the Flake Parts module system, and then there's the
If this
NixOS
is
module
mentioned,
system.
well, I think it can be nested. But, well, this thing, this thing exists in the context of the NixOS test config. This option exists
Mm-hmm.
in the context of a NixOS test config.
Yes.
Nodes PR tracker services PR tracker DB create locally. In this, it'll always be in this, right? Here it's also in this.
Yep.
Via option, see this via option, like option via option, that's like acknowledgement of nested
It feels like it. Yeah.
configurations is already declared in via option. Well, that would be the same, right?
Yep.
And this did not occur when we imported twice from
And it also does not
we
occur when we
use
use the
with path.
common module, which seems to be the exact same pattern.
Why? There must be a, well, maybe this one is the first to fail.
No,
Maybe
because
that,
the common pattern exists in main.
but main doesn't have flake parts.
Main does have Flake Parts.
Main does have flake parts.
Like maybe what's relevant is with that private common module, or the common module
Maybe
that's
because it's
supposed to
deep.
be
Maybe
private.
because it's nested, like private default. This
Mm-hmm.
you just try flattening it.
Sure.
So I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm just going to flake nix
Sure.
and do like
TB.next.
comment this out and db.e.
Sure.
Check.
Mm-hmm. So at
That's
this
this.
point, what I'd be inclined to do is to start looking at the differences between this db.nix and the common.nix and whittle away at the differences until we identify what's relevant.
Yeah,
Because they're the
EPNX.
same damn pattern.
Well, this takes Flake, NixOS modules. And no changes.
Okay. Start 7. Exploit check. Gonna fail in the same way. There we go. So what I'd be inclined to do is if we go to uh, common right there versus uh,
Jeremy,
yes,
I'll take a moment, okay?
sure thing. Okay. And I would not have guessed.
I'm back, and I don't see your
Hello.
screen.
Okay. Um, I'll share.
Doom, doom,
Okay.
doom,
So
doom,
I'm
doom,
gonna.
doom.
I was really flailing around here. Uh, so what I was trying to do
One
is to
moment
just.
I'm gone and you're flailing.
I was just starting to do just comment code out and to try to get a feel for this. So let me just revert my changes and show you the path I was going down. Um, so what I was curious about was trying to understand like the difference between this common and this underscore DB because they don't feel any different to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what I've got open here is the create locally test right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I want to simplify this thing so I can play with it a little bit. Like, so right now, if we run next like check, we get the error that we're totally puzzled by. And I was like, okay, this is just a playground for me.
Sorry, timer.
Oh, thank you. There we go. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I just want to like, as a reminder, what our API module looks like right now. It pulls in common and DB. So I was like, okay, I just want to like start there. So like, this is super hack. I'm just like, it's a
Wait,
convenient place
what
for me to
file
put
are we
something.
in?
This is the test that we're trying to run and failing to, you know, evaluate the,
Uh-huh.
the node. Um, So yeah,
And
nodes.pr tracker here
what's
refers to this thing.
yes, but
And
why? Like, if you wanted to see the difference between DB and common, why don't you take out everything out of DB and make it the same as common?
yeah, I just wanted, I guess I'm
What is this
skipping ahead a
for?
bit. So that is what I did while you were gone. And then that led me to here. So I'm trying to skip a part, but um, that's not justified. So here we go. So what the very first thing I did while you were gone was
Hmm.
I said, oh, okay, let's just get rid of the entire config section from here. That's just like not at all possibly relevant right now because we're not. Okay, I guess the very first thing I did is I fixed the formatting of this file. So let me do that. Next film. Okay. Next. Okay. Boom. So there's the config section gone, and that won't affect things, and it shouldn't affect things because we're not getting to the point where we're even booting a machine where its configuration matters. Okay, and so we get the same thing already declared. And then I had these things side by side. So uh, the other one is called common. There we go. All right, very similar. They're both just defining two options now. Uh, Yet with common, we don't seem to get an issue. And with db.next, we do seem to get an issue. So then I was starting to play with like, okay, uh, trying to remind myself that we're actually importing both of these twice.
One of them takes config.
Mm-hmm. It's not using it right now though.
And uh-huh.
So to try to prove that that's not relevant, comment that out. Oh, I lied. Where else CFG reference? Oh, I meant to comment this out. Here we go. Yeah. So still getting the exact same thing.
Right.
And so then what I was just trying to play with was like, okay, looking at the test. So if I go back to the create locally test, it imports API and fetcher, and I expect the API to import this common and fetcher to import that common.
Yep.
And so I was just like figured it would be easier to convince myself of that if I just did it all here. So I was like doing self dot Nixos modules that common like twice, and I wouldn't expect that to cause any issues other than like we're going to try to define some options that don't exist, and that's what's happening right now. It's like saying, oh, you're trying to declare like fetcher options. So then I was like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, those options don't exist. Sorry, my bad. So I commented all that out. I'm just trying to get to the point where we build an NixOS machine that boots, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now it's complaining about create locally, which is odd to me because now I don't think we're pulling in. Okay, so we're in uncharted
Oh,
territory. I have not been here before. Um,
well, there are multiple tests. Why don't you build this one only?
okay, there are.
Checks. Like, next build.
I think this is our only NixOS test, but fair. Okay, that's doing
Oh.
something. Okay, so maybe we're getting tripped up by something totally unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Start
are
putting it
options
back
or something.
together. Start putting it back the way it was,
Hmm.
step by step, and then run only this check, build only this check.
Yep, already declared in block. Okay, great.
Sorry?
So I undid just the changes here, and that was enough to
Mm-hmm.
retrigger the option being redeclared. So I go back
Mm-hmm.
to this, and we just build one. That's enough to get the double declaration thing.
Okay. So that change did somehow is that is somehow different than importing common twice there.
Yeah. Well, so now
But
what I
it's
want
not
to do,
common that is being
yeah.
that we
So
have a
now I want
complaint
to do the
about.
same thing with underscore DB. So I'll start here, where
Mm-hmm.
the only thing we're pulling in is underscore DB. I expect this to get to the point of building a NixOS VM.
You know what you can do? You can do Nix build with no build. Which Nix eval instead.
Oh, okay. Just to see if we can evaluate the thing.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, great. And then if I duplicate this, I wouldn't expect this to cause an issue. And indeed it does not. But just to confirm that that Nix eval actually can fail. No, that did not fail. It didn't even produce a different. That's surprising to me. Is it because we're importing these modules but not using them?
Yep.
But is the next build not going to run into an issue then? It shouldn't, right?
Why would it run into an issue?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, it's not even relevant. We the problem we had is a Nix evaluation problem. It's some kind of an assertion or Nix
Yeah.
packages module system.
Okay. Great. So here we are. Okay. So if I comment out all this stuff, and if the only thing I pull in is underscore DB, there's our create locally. So that's a non-issue. This is not going to be great. We're going to write it. I don't know that this is useful. Feel free to steer us in a different direction here.
Should have felt free to steer us in a different direction when I was captain. Now I'm not.
Yeah, well, that's why we rotate. It's to shake things up.
XOS test. Play it properly. Doing it properly. I want to see something. I want to not add anything. I want to just comment things out until this doesn't happen. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
So
Um, so how do I return this to reason?
if you re-add API and fetcher, this should be enough to trigger the bug.
eval checks. No. Oh, that's this evaluated.
Okay, I'm wrong then.
Bringing all this back. This did not evaluate. So all we need to do is comment out stuff here, like binary search. Use a different tab. Okay, what happened here? This actually did the thing. How about these three? Okay, these three.
Were you able to recreate the bug?
Yes, look, I did kind of binary search here. So these are commented out. Next eval passes. These
Okay,
three uncommented. Next eval fails.
great.
Something with these three. Which one? Probably fetch or enable. Let's try commenting. Let's try
Okay,
commenting out just this one. Still fails. Commenting out this one. Still fails. Commenting out this one. Passes.
cool.
Bringing back these. Passes.
Oh, sorry, when it says
Commenting
the
out this
option
one.
is declared.
Fails.
Okay,
Uncommenting these. Fails. Maybe because API, let me try commenting out these. Should pass. Pass. Okay. So if I uncomment this, it'll fail. Okay? If I
hmm
uncomment this, it'll fail. Do we have progress?
So, sorry, it's enough to enable just one of these, and that causes it to fail.
Either.
Okay, and
If,
the
and
other
if any
options
of
don't
these,
matter, right? Like if you remove all the other, if you comment out all the other options.
if I comment out all the other options, what do you,
Like all you need is
what's the question?
right?
in order for it to fail,
Yes.
is one of the enables.
Okay.
I guess. I don't need to
And,
check, right? This is pretty obvious. It is literally an enable option, and what an enable option does is it triggers evaluation of other options.
mm-hmm. It triggers about. I guess I thought the evaluation of the options occurred when you imported the module, not
Look,
when you enabled it. Like I thought all
here's
enable affected was the config section that got declared.
so if I go to NixOS module API NixOS module, and enable here, see that
Mm-hmm.
config as lib make if cfg enable.
Yep.
In
Yeah.
that
This is just the
case,
config section.
there is like, see, this will then be no, sorry, config cfg. Like for example, cfg group, or I think more relevant, cfg db will be evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
Rotating,
Okay.
rotated.
Modules API, soft
Share
module.
screen. It's asking me to tell you to close Riverside and other tabs.
Yes. Well, I'm not going to do that. 90% of the way through that upload.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want me to close it.
No, please do let it upload.
Yeah. All right. So that's an evaluation that succeeded. And you're saying for me to trigger the crash, what I need to do is, I just want to see the, like, this will be enough to trigger it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then what if I delete the entire config section for this module? Like, there's no way that would bug, right? Like if I take this entire config blob and just comment it out, this should
Yeah, I
evaluate.
think it'll evaluate. Yeah.
Because that's all enable is doing. Okay, great, cool. The world, at least, like gravity is still pulling down for me. So that's good. Um, so it's almost certainly these references are somehow relevant, right? Like if I comment this out, it probably still evaluates.
There's quite a few of them.
Oh, really?
cfg.db.
Gotcha. CFG.db is right there. Certain triggers that thing. And there's DB
Another one.
background. And then, yeah, I don't know if it's a useful path. The point is that by referencing CFG.db, that seems to trigger this double declaration issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, is the difference between these two somehow related? Because, right, my brain's still in the like, what's the difference between this private module and the pre-existing common private module? And is one relevant difference that like we don't read from the pre-existing common one in many places, whereas this one we read from in multiple places?
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, is it a bad idea to try to look at the full
Look,
stack
hold
there?
on. But just yes. I mean, I think we can still get some make some progress here with commenting out of things.
Okay.
Spec-
What do you want to? What do you? How do you want to search through this state space?
uh, Obviously, it's not a difference in the modules. It's a difference in other modules. It's not a difference in the options of between DB and common. It's a difference in how they're used, how those options are used.
It certainly feels like that. Yeah.
Well, how are they used?
Well, here's a fairly minimal.
Where's common anyway? Common provides the package.
Yep. So we use it up here, config.prtracker packages to get the package set.
Hold on, that's a difference. Sorry, hold on. Just please, look. This is not used in config. This is used in declaring an option.
Okay, that's a good point.
That's the difference.
Um, okay, well, let's prove that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reintroduce all this code I just commented. No, sorry, I'm not. I'm going to get things to a point where it evaluates. And then to test your theory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a reference common module and see if we can trigger a similar, an analogous bug. So I'll be like lib dot, I'll leave the original one here, and then here. So I'll say lib dot optional, and I'll say config dot pr tracker packages. Um, or I'll add a new boolean, I guess, to here. So I'll say like hack underscore hack, and I'll put this to true. Okay, and then here I'll say if config dot hack. Hey, no, that's just a typo. Not of type string matching the pattern block. Maybe you can't do lib.optional in this context. Oh, because lib.optional returns null, and you can't have this thing set to null, I guess. So let me do this thing with binds to instead, where this would be lib.optional back, something like that, and just break away. Okay, so all right, I'm going to rotate, but I'm not convinced that it's just a reference, because now we're referencing the stuff from common.
I don't think so. I don't think that option is used.
Okay.
It's not enough to just do that. Which file is that in?
This is in API
Here.
Nixoft modules.
Yeah.
Nix. Or Nix.
This needs to be used.
Can you share?
Oh, how do we know that binds to is used? I don't think it's used anywhere.
Okay, well, to test that, uncomment the line above and comment up a hack.
Uncomment this
Yeah,
and
and then comment the line below, and then see if you can eval successfully.
what's the difference?
I don't believe there is any interesting difference.
I don't think that checks what
But
this
this
fails
this
to.
kind of proves my point because this triggers the double declaration thing. But then if you reintroduce the hack, it'll eval.
Let's see.
Can you check me on that? I just want to make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, there we go. So what's the difference here?
I was sure that has to do with it being used only as only for evaluation of these options.
Hopefully that proves that theory isn't right.
I'm going to see what this hack is. Yeah. Okay.
So like one difference is hack is never set anywhere in the way that like create locally is. Like, I don't know, what if you set hack to false on the right hand side and then in our test we tried to set
What?
hack to true, or maybe not set a value for hack here. I guess that would be closer to what we're doing. Where create locally probably doesn't
It.
have a
There's a
create
default.
locally default. Yeah, so maybe in make option we say default equals false. Sure, something like that.
Is this equivalent?
Excuse me. Feels the same to me. Hey, we did it. Nice. And if you comment out the hack equals true, do we still get the issue?
Comment it out, evaluating.
Nice.
We still get the issue.
Okay. So just by virtue of having a default value. Interesting.
it's it's not a complete answer, but at least now it's not. Well, at least now we can like not. We're like, oh, what's the difference? Uh, at least now we're not asking that.
Yep. Now we're asking, why is it that default values on modules.
No, we're not. Are you?
What are you asking?
I'm asking how we can work with this. How can we import a module, again, the same module, from two other modules? Apparently, it's only allowed some of the time, right? Apparently, it has something to do with default option values.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to be constrained by whether we are using default option values or not. We just want to do this thing that should be possible. We just want to do it. We want
And we
to. Is
used to
it
do
like
it.
not supported? We used to do it.
And so are you saying the reason it used to work is because we were doing file references?
Yes, because I think the module system should be smart enough to not import, not, you don't get two values, you get one value. It's like there's caching. It's like, it's not even the module system. It's just Nix. When you import, you can import any number of times. It's the module system must be using the import function, built-in function,
Mm-hmm.
and the import built-in function has a trivial cache with
Sure.
paths.
But like it feels to me like we're passing the exact same Nix value in two different places. Like that doesn't feel any different to me like a cached import function. We're just doing the caching in code rather than the language is doing it for us.
Next in. Uh, well, then if in that case, then it is the Nix packages module system that does something special.
Yeah, like it says, oh, this is a file, so I won't reevaluate it. But oh, it's
It
some
has its own
opaque
cache.
value. I don't know. I can't hash this thing, so I guess I'll just have to like evaluate it or something. And maybe there's like an escape hatch. Like if we found the code, right? There's got to be code somewhere in the Nix packages module system that says, oh, this thing's a file, or it's not a file. If it's a file, I'm going to import it. If it's not a file, I'm not going to import it. And maybe in that else block that it's not a file, maybe there's some if statement that says, if this thing is hashable or something, maybe there's some way to opt into hashability, then it'll like check if it's already imported it or evaluated its options or something. Does that does the shape of what I'm saying make sense?
Yeah.
You don't want to read the code, do you? I can't tell from the face you're making.
Uh, it's just whatever that ends up being would be a hack.
Maybe.
I'm just thinking, is it
Or
really
yeah,
not straightforward to import the same module from two different, like twice? I think Nix is supposed to be lazy, and like lazy, isn't that part of what lazy is?
yeah. I mean, it seems to be like,
Oh, it's not the same value. It's not the same
oh,
value. When you import, there's some metadata added to the module. Part of that
okay.
metadata is the module that imported it, most likely.
Hmm.
And I mean, part of what you were saying is probably part of it, that it's like, yes, importing of the same module is possible, but only if it's a path.
Maybe. But that seems
It's
like in a
supported
universe
if
where
it's a
people
path.
are consuming flakes, that those Nixos module outputs, they don't feel like files to me, right? They feel to me like Nix values that you pull in from some other flake and add references to in your own Nixos configurations. So like, I mean, and maybe this isn't an issue because there isn't like diamond dependencies out there in Nixos modules where like I use it and I use something else that uses it. And so then I end up with it imported twice. Like maybe the ecosystem hasn't evolved
The
to the point
Nix
where that's happening.
OS is full of that,
Sure, but that works because those are all file-based references.
possibly. And the Flakes ecosystem, like you said, there may even be an issue about this.
Yeah, like I think the right term is diamond dependencies, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Flake ecosystem has just not gotten rich enough yet, where there's like shared modules that are being used by other Flakes. Like I could
Uh,
imagine that being the state of the ecosystem right now.
yeah, I agree. Well, we are rich enough
Rich enough for what?
to stumble across this, even within the same
Sure,
flake.
right. This is interesting. I think we're going to learn something deep here if we keep going in this direction.
No, I just want to work around this.
Well, you got any ideas? Like flake parts is letting us restructure our flake so that we're not doing imports anymore. But if we want to preserve the nature of the imports, then we got to somehow like,
We could import. We are importing the flake part module by path. There's a single flake part module involved. Well, there are many. The one that specified the NixOS module, we are importing that by path. But then the NixOS module, we're sticking it in module args.
mm-hmm.
And we're using it in two different NixOS modules. And that seems to be not supported. Okay. So here's one workaround.
Okay.
Oh, it's ugly. In both, it's a conditional import.
Like that you
If
somehow check if it's already been imported.
if there is such a value,
I see.
use it. Otherwise,
And
import.
so you conditionally append to the imports array.
You can what append?
Conditionally append
Yep.
to the imports array.
To yes.
I see. Yeah, I don't know what the if statement would be, but yeah, that might be possible.
It's a question mark operator.
I see. Yeah, that might work. Or trying to do that question mark operator might trigger a whole recursive something that I don't know.
Share screen and restart your timer, please, because you didn't do any. And I suggest you take another. Restart this round.
Sure. Here we go. So I would be moderately interested in like just proving to ourselves that our theory is right. Like, is there a trivial way?
It's not, there's no.
Like, what I'd be interested in doing if we had this like in a convenient playground would be to basically take something that works, where we're doing a diamond sort of dependency thing, and convert it from files to functions or to objects, just with some trivial like
I mean, we
float it up.
did, but it's not. You're not convinced that
I
this
would,
is.
I can do this on my own time. So I think what I will try to do is put together a minimal minimal repro of the thing.
I
And
totally support that.
yeah, okay. So uh, I don't know. I would be inclined at this point to say let's stop for the day. I'll put together the minimal repro today,
Oh,
try to put it in
okay.
someone's hands,
I see the
and
time.
see if maybe we'll get an answer by tomorrow.
Sure, works for me.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. It'd be nice to
What?
land this refactor.
It's okay. This is it. Sometimes you're working on your own code. Sometimes you're working on upstream code. Right?
Yep.
It's sharing.
Yeah.
It's sharing.
I hope we can get a better answer. Just like I don't want to implement the workaround, but if we don't have an answer by tomorrow, let's
The
see if we can do a
workaround is
workaround.
trivial, right?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, if you wanna do it before we call it a session, I'm down. Like, do you want to try to
If
do it?
mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. We've got a repo right now, right? Like if I do an init
Confirm that
eval,
it's failing.
so it doesn't like that.
Yeah.
And then the place where we're importing this twice is ultimately coming from
API
API and
and
fetcher.
fetcher. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take that. API Nixos module, fetcher Nixos module. Okay, and so underscore DB and underscore DB. We want
Mm-hmm.
to make both of these conditional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you don't know
Just
the order.
okay. So sorry. One way to test it here. If I comment this out, you believe the problem goes away, right?
Oh yeah. For that test, because it has both of them. But another test that has only
Okay. So that
uh
theory, this is still failing to evaluate.
for which what the heck?
Now I'm going to comment it out in
This
the other.
looks like more like circular imports.
Now, if I comment it out in the other place, we're going to get something about the option doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I think our theory is wrong.
What? Sorry, what?
Now I get the option does not exist.
Right.
So I think our
Yeah.
theory about, like, I think the workaround that you proposed isn't going to solve that problem.
I agree. How is it failing with only this? It looks like now it looks like more like infinite recursion.
I like that. Okay, can we prove that to ourselves with a lib.builtins.trace?
Well, I'm not. I don't can't guarantee that the infinite recursion is there. It's not,
Okay, it's not that simple. Okay, but if I add a trace down in underscore DB, couldn't I see two print statements? Like that is our belief, right? Underscore hash, right? Common. Like we expect this to be getting declared first, right?
wait, trace this way?
Yeah, so
That
we see it twice. That fits with our theory, right?
is trace from built-ins similar to trace val? I don't understand how you're using this
Trace takes a
trace.
string and then a value to return. So it
So it's
prints the
similar to
string and
trace val
returns the
from
value.
lib.
Trace val is implemented using built-in stuff.
I'm sorry. No, okay. No, I got it. I got it. Trace a string and a okay. Sorry, I forgot how the API.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So it
twice.
just means
How?
proving to ourselves that this is happening twice. And that's surprising to us, right? We don't expect it to be getting
Yeah,
imported twice. So I think that's potentially the thread to pull on.
but
And does it not happen if
this
I
is
remove the default?
common. I'm sorry. Hmm?
Sorry, finish your thought.
This is common. Where is it actually imported?
So let me maximize my screen here. Yeah, vector, API. So it's getting imported from here.
Yep.
Hello from API slash
Wait,
mix.
that's DB, but you were in
Oh, whoops.
common.
Thank you. This is going to need to run. So I expect to see that print statement before. Yeah. So that's the order I'd expect, right? API, Nixoff module, then we declare hack. So what's causing the other one? What the heck? Are
We
we
don't happen to
importing?
have some like extra import somewhere, do we? Some extra
Maybe we
like
do.
actual duplicate code somewhere?
Maybe. I'd believe anything at this point. Oh shit. This whole experiment is bogus. I'm sorry. I've been commenting out DB, which is irrelevant to the conversation. What we've been hacking on is this commenting. So it's possible that the problem goes away and that your workaround would work. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry. So that was a whole friggin' tangent because I got confused about what to comment out.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think this still fits. It's basically like if I add just to like see it, built in, well, I'll just copy this on the left, paste it over here, hello from fetcher, and then we'll see it gets, yeah, so it gets double declared right there.
Ooh, well, the fact that that is evaluated twice, I mean, kind of inevitable because the list of imports must be evaluated to some degree, right? It is more like whether it is identified as the same value and like even if it was a path there, you'd get this hello twice.
Okay. Hmm.
The
Okay.
the trace you're looking to add is inside the Nix packages module system.
Yeah. Um.
It will receive the values and then it will evaluate them. A path will be imported and translated into probably an adder set with some metadata and the eventual imported value. And I think you're right that if we could just kind of hack the system and provide
Yeah.
an adder set that imports, the import expression, and import expression probably gets placed as one of the attributes of that internal adder set, and
Okay.
in addition to some metadata.
Yeah. Some metadata that allows it to basically not print out the already declared message
Right.
and instead to say,
So either that or what I said, don't import it if it already exists in both places because we don't know the order.
okay, yeah, um, I think so. At this point, it's like possible that reading the relevant code would help us find a better hack. It's also possible that the question mark operator, like you described, would be what we need. Um, what do you want to stop or do you want to move in one of those two directions right now?
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
All right. I will rotate, I guess. This is quite a state to leave things in. I think I'm
Good
motivated to take
work
a look at
today.
some
Please
NixOS
do.
module code, so I'll let you know if I learn anything.
Good luck on your
Thank you.
journey. Ooh, our fate is in your hands.
Uh-oh.
There will be trials along the way, temptations, and challenges.
Starting my hero's journey.
But you are our champion,
Oh boy. No pressure, huh?
and you are one of us, and we are a proud people.
Giving your
So,
Aragorn speech here. Motivated to go fight orcs. There may come a day that molybdenum software will fail, but today is not that day.
that's a good one.
Cool.
Okay. Have a nice day, Jeremy.
You too.
And thank you for watching. Bye bye.